नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकीम्. Today I am reading Cantor 2, Chapter 10 from text 14 onwards. Text 14. Just hear from me how the potency of his lordship divides one into three, called the controlling entities, the controlled entities, and the material bodies in the manner mentioned above. Text 15. From the sky situated within the transcendental body of the manifesting Mahavishnu, sense energy, mental force, and bodily strength are all generated, as well as the sum total of the fountain head of the total living force. Text 16. As the followers of a king follow their lord, similarly, when the total energy is in motion, all other living entities move. And when the total energy stops endeavoring, all other living entities stop sensual activities. Text 17. The living force being agitated by the Virat Purusha generated hunger and thirst. And when he desired to drink and eat, the mouth opened. Text 18. From the mouth, the palate became manifested, and thereupon the tongue was also generated. After this, all the different tastes came into existence so that the tongue can release them. Text 19. When the Supreme desired to speak, speeches were vibrated from the mouth. Then the controlling deity, fire, was generated from the mouth. But when he was lying in the water, all these functions remained suspended. Text 20. Thereafter, when the Supreme Purusha desired to smell odors, the nostrils and the respiration were generated. Then nasal instrument and odors came into existence. And the controlling deity of air carrying smell also became manifested. Text 21. Thus, when everything existed in darkness, the Lord desired to see himself and all that was created. Then the eyes, the illuminating God's sun, the power of vision, and the object of sight all became manifested. Text 22. By the development of the desire of the great sages to know, the ears, the power of hearing, the controlling deity of hearing, and the objects of hearing become manifested. The great sages desired to hear about the self. Text 23. When there was a desire to pursue the physical characteristics of matter, such as softness, hardness, warmth, cold, lightness, and heaviness, the background of sensation, the skin pores, the hairs on the body, and their controlling deities, the trees, were generated. Within and outside of the skin is a covering of air through which sense perception become prominent. Text 24. Thereafter, when the Supreme desired to perform varieties of work, the two hands and their controlling strength and Indra, the demigod in heaven, became manifested, as also the acts dependent on both the hands and the demigod. Text 25. Thereupon, because of his desiring to control movement, his legs became manifested, and from the legs, the controlling deity named Vishnu was generated. By his personal supervision of this act, all varieties of human being are busily engaged in dutiful occupational sacrifice. Text 26. Thereupon, for sexual pleasure, begetting offspring, and tasting heavenly nectar, the Lord developed the genitals, and thus there is a genital organ and its controlling deity, the Prajapati. The object of sexual pleasure and the controlling deity are under the control of the genitals of the Lord. Text 27. Thereafter, when he desired to evacuate the refuse of eatables, the evacuating hole, anus, and the sensory organ thereof developed along with controlling deity Mitra. The sensory organ and the evacuating substance are both under the shelter of the controlling deity. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yeah, Sri Krishna Prabhuji, whenever you're ready, you can start, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam Sikshashtamekam Purusha Puranam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sariradari Kripambudirtamaham Prapadye. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today we are seeing a wonderful section again. So in the last section, in the previous chapter, Brahmaji is answering all of the questions that was asked by Parikshit Maharaj. So Parikshit Maharaj puts forward an elaborate list of questions, and with those list of questions, Sukadeva Goswami remembers the original Bhagavatam that was spoken by Brahmaji to Narada Muni, and he is kind of bringing that pastime into the description, so that he says that, okay, how Lord Brahma got the darshan of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then he got this Chatusloki Bhagavatam, from Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, Vishnu himself came, and then he spoke all of these verses. And then Brahmaji got inspired, and he wanted to give this knowledge elaborately to everyone. And Narada Muni, being a perfect son of Brahmaji, he asked these questions, and then Brahmaji starts narrating this Srimad Bhagavatam to Narada Muni, and then Narada Muni gives this knowledge to Vyasadeva. So that is how the last chapter concludes. And then this chapter, Sukadeva Goswami is now saying that I will narrate the same Bhagavatam that was narrated by Brahmaji to Naradaji, and Narada gave to Vyasadeva, and then Vyasadeva gave to his disciples in Sukadeva Goswami. And Vyasadeva is also sitting in the assembly of sages, that when Sukadeva Goswami was speaking, so it is all the more important that these pastimes glorifying Brahmaji and Narada Muni is being described here. So now in this chapter, now the Bhagavatam, the questions specifically asked by Parikshit Maharaj is being answered by the example of, by quoting Bhagavatam that was originally quoted by Brahmaji himself, which is again originally quoted by Supreme Lord from his speech. So in these verses, the aspect of creation is actually mentioned. So we are starting from verse number 14 today. So here in this aspects of creation, there are very, very unique verses that we can see. For example, in the verse number 11, the meaning of Narayana, the name Narayana was mentioned. Like Nara, we know Nara is like a human being, and Nara is the one who actually creates that the water, the transcendental ocean, that because it was created by Nara, it was called Nara, and then one who is sleeping on that ocean is Narayana. So Narayana, the word Narayana was manifested because of that. So like that in verse number 11 it was described. And so gradually in starting from verse number 14, so now he's describing about how this controlling deities manifested in this creation. So now Lord, how the Purusha avatars came from the Lord, like Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Sirodakshaya Vishnu, and how they manifested. was given in a little bit detail in these verses. And now starting in verse number 14, giving specific details about how each and every senses manifested, how the potency of the living entity manifested. All of these details are being given here. So in the verse number 14, one second. So in the verse number 14 here, we can see that so the potency Adi Daivam, Adi Bhutam, and Adhyatmam. So these three controlling deities, how they manifested, is details are given here. So now, so if you look at this, the material world, the Lord manages the affairs of material world through the controlling deities. So the controlling deities play a vital role, but how they, at what point they manifest, the controlling deities take the the lead is given. That point is mentioned in this particular chapter. So here, the verse number 15, so it says Antasarira Akashat. So Akashat is like the sky. So the sky, so from the sky, the transcendental body of Mahavishnu manifested the sense Purusasya Vichesh Tataha. So the sense energy. So in the Sanskrit, they call is Ojaha. Ojaha is the energy of the senses, the vital force. And Sahobalam Jagna. So that energy, vital energy, got generated within the Mahavishnu's body. And then that is the sum total of all the Ojaha, like the energy that it is described here, like Tataha Prano, like the prana, the prana that we have is a subset of the prana that the Lord carries. So that is what is mentioned here. It is just like the universal prana that is carried by Mahavishnu. So without this universal prana, we cannot actually exist. So it's basically Lord's universal vital force is what is divided into so many living entities. So he is like the source, and we are the part and parcel. So without the source, there cannot be part and parcel. And it is not like material, it is spiritual. So that's why we cannot see his, he is in the background, but we cannot see him directly. So that is what is being described here. So here on the verse number 16, so again, how the this total energy, a little bit of example is given. So like, for example, in the worldly examples, the king is ideal personality who is, everybody tries to follow the king, so wherever the king moves, everybody tries to see what he is doing. And that's like a worldly example is given. Anupranati yam pranaha. So pranatam sarva jantushu Naradevam Ivanugaha. So Naradevam is like the king is called Naradevam. So even though he is Nara, human being, but he is considered as Devam because he is on a position of very taking care of all the citizens. So that's why he's called Naradevam. So here the king example is given that when the king stops functioning, all of the activities of that particular kingdom comes to standstill. Similarly, when the Lord's total energy, it stops endeavoring, then all of the living entities, sensual activities also completely stops. So it is like a material example, but it is so that we can understand this example in a worldly example. So this example is being quoted here by Sukadeva Goswami. So another example Prabhupada quotes is the electric grid. So he says that everybody has electricity in their homes, but it's not independent. The moment the grid stops, the same moment the electricity stops at the home. But somebody may ask, how is it working? It is working through the transmission of the power. So this is a material, but how about the spiritual is also similar, like the moment the Lord's endeavoring energy stops, the sense activities of the living entities also stops. That is what Bhagavatam is concluding here. So in the verse number 17, now this prana, this living force, and how it becomes into multi various desire, like senses, like the living, we have living force within this body, and then we also have this senses which acts as the outlets for this living force to perform several activities, eating, smelling, seeing. But how this manifested from in the first living entity, the Lord, and from how this is manifested is being described here, starting from verse number 17. So here it says, pranena akshipata shutrut antara. So the hunger and thirst. So the first hunger and thirst was generated by the Virat Purusha himself. So the Virat Purusha here first generated the thirst and hunger, desiring to eat. Jak Shatash, so desiring to eat. Pran Mukam Nirabidyate, so he desired to eat, drink, and then the mouth, which actually takes all the palatable dishes, was first generated by the Virat Purusha himself. So and then the verse number 18, so we can see that so because he desired like that, then the mouth, the palate of the mouth started to manifest, and then the tongue was generated. So if you look at the mouth, the unique part of the mouth is the tongue, which can actually taste the palate. That desire is satisfied not just through mouth, particularly through tongue. So that is manifested after that. And after this, all different kinds of tato nano raso jajne. So different varieties of taste also manifested. Rasaha. So this taste manifested only because of the tongue. If there is no tongue, then all of these tastes we cannot even understand, right? So that's why the Lord here it says that jivaya yo adigamyate. So through the agency of the tongue, all of these rasas, nana rasaha, so is manifested. And then so here, and then after this manifestation, simultaneously Lord also creates the controlling deity Varuna. So Varuna is the controlling deity for all the relishable rasas, the palates. So the Varuna also got manifested. So we can understand like this, like in this worldly example again, if the government wants to build a particular a building, or he wants to establish a particular agency, then they simultaneously create one authority. Okay, you are going to be the director of this agency, and you are going to be the supervisor, and like that everything will manifest. So similarly, the Lord being the controller, he is also manifesting the desire as well as the power to manage that. For example, here the desire is to relish different varieties of taste, and then the tongue manifests, and then to control the tongue is manifesting the Varuna, who is the Adi Devata, who is going to control that power. So and then the verse number 19, this tongue is also used for speaking. So it is not only for palate, it is also used for speaking. And now, so when the Lord desired to speak and he desired to vibrate from the mouth, then the another deity manifest, which is the fire god. The fire god is manifesting from the mouth. And so it is also mentioned here that Nirodha Samagjayate. So Nirodha means Suchiram Nirodha, like when the Lord is sleeping Yoga Nidra on Yoga Nidra on the bed of ocean, the Sirodaksha ocean, then all of these things are not manifested. It remains suspended. So Nirodha. But as soon as he started to desire, then all of these things become manifested. So that particular point is mentioned in verse number 19 here. And then this, so the fire god manifested, and then now through the agency of fire god, now all of these foods, the desire to speak, that also becomes prominent. Now the verse number 20, now the desires, the Supreme Lord is desiring to granaha means gandavaha granaha, so means smelling through the agency of vayu. So like when we have to smell, there is an agency also involved, like the vayu. The vayu carries the smell and then it goes inside, right? So tatra vayur gandavahu. So here it said that grano nasi jigrakshataha. So nasi means the nose, the nostrils. So through the nostrils, the Lord desired to smell, and also the respiration means the breathing, the air going inside and coming out. So that is when the Lord desired to smell. And the Vedic mantras also, in Upanishads also, they confirm that this particular statement, that everything was desired first by the Supreme Lord, and then the living entity is subordinate. They started also getting all this senses, that living entities were able to use these senses, but first it was desired by the Supreme Lord. So, and also, like Prabhupada quotes that another very popular verse, that man proposes and God disposes. So this is like a common man saying, but in this it is said that okay, we desired and then Lord manifested, but it was the other way around. The Bhagavatam says the Lord desired and then he manifested, and the living entities also, he gave that tendency for the living entities also. So it's not the other way around, that the God is order supplier of the human beings. So that particular point is Prabhupada is making here in the purport. So in the verse number 21, it was mentioned how this universe, when it is created, it is called tamaha. Tamaha means darkness. So there is no light, it's in the complete pitch dark. And then when the Lord desired to see, then the sun, the power of sun got manifested. Jyotish chakshur gunagraha. So the chakshur is the eyes. So jyoti is the sun, like the light or sun. So the Lord wanted to see, immediately the sun manifest, and then we were all able to see because of the sun. And the Lord, the first Lord desired, and then the living entities were able to see. And right now, this in the morning. So Brahma Samhita also says the eyes of the Lord is the sun. So Savita Grahanam Yachakshur Savita Grahanam Raja Samasta Suramurti Rasesha Tejaha. So like the sun is like very powerful, but it's nothing but the Lord's eyes. So the Brahma Samhita also says here. And then verse number 22, the later on Lord desired to hear, and this desire came through the agency of the sages. The sages were actually desiring to know about themselves, it seems. So the sages, how to know about themselves is not through eyes, through the agency of the ears. So the ears are compared to here to the knowledge. So here it says that Bodhya Manashya Rishibi Atmanaha. So here the great sages, they desire to know about their own self. And then the Lord, being in everyone's heart, he manifests the controlling deity, and then the hearing capacity got manifested. So Karnau cha nirbadi yatam. Karnau is the ears. And then the power, the srotram guna grahana. So the power of hearing started manifesting. So here again, Prabhupada makes a point that the radio and then television, all they do is they give a lot of these audios to the people, so they can hear and get the knowledge. So the dissemination of knowledge is basically not through eyes and through the power of ears. So that Prabhupada is establishing here. But the power of hearing is misused because of vibrating the mundane subject matters in radio and television. So he is suggesting that the power of hearing can be perfectly utilized by hearing the Vedic knowledge and nothing more, and beginning from the oral reception of the Vedic knowledge. So in the verse number 23, now the Lord is desiring for the sensual perception of physical characteristics like Lagu, Guru, Oshna, Sitatham. So Lagu means lightness, Guru means heaviness, Oshna means warm, and Sitatham is like cold. Sita Ushna, like we say, right? So all of these sensual activities the Lord is desiring now. He is desiring to perceive these sensual activities. And Nirbannam Tashyam Roma Mahi Ruhaha. So here in this material world, these plants, trees, all the vegetation is compared to Virat Purusha's hairs. So similarly, the hairs on the body, there is a relationship that Prabhupada makes a point here. So just like there is a vegetation on this earth, so whatever the vegetation produces, like the leaves, fruits, vegetables, all of these are good for the skin and the sense perception, the physical, these soft, the feelings of the skin, it seems. So that's the point Prabhupada makes. So the Lord desired, and then it manifested, and then it appeared for the living entities also again. So and then verse number 24, then again Lord desired to perform Nana Karma Chikir. So you desire to perform karma, like activities. So when the activities, the moment you think about activities without the hands, there cannot be any activities. So then the hands got manifested. Hastau Ruru Hatash Tashya. So Hastau is like the hands. The hands got manifested, and Tayostu Balavan Indra. So Indra is the demigod who is the controlling deity for this activities, the karma. So that's why the yagyas also, they invoke devatas and Indra. So, and then verse number 25, the Lord now desiring to control the movement. So when you have to gatim jigishataha padau ruruhate abikamikam. So like now he's, when you want to control your activities, like they say in Bhagavad Gita, the field of activities, like the ants, they have very, very small legs. They have a limited field of activity. The human beings, we also use electronic vehicles, mechanical vehicles. So we have expanded our activities to even many different countries now. So this field of activities is primarily started with the legs. So Padhyam, Padbhyam, Yajna, Swayam, Havyam. So here again the Lord desired, and then the legs got manifested, and then all of the different human beings are engaged, busily in their activities through the agency of the legs. Again, Prabhupada makes a point that we were so busy performing so many activities, but the proper way of engaging these senses again is to engage the vital force and the senses in the service of the Lord. Then verse number 26, again the desire to procreate and beget offspring, that was desired by the Lord, and then the genitals were developed, and the controlling deity is Prajapati. So the Prajapati is the controlling deity. Now the object of again in this verse also you can see that Upashtaha, meaning both genders, both male and female. Kamanam, Priyam, Ubaya, Ashrayam. So the shelter for both of them again is the Prajapati is the controlling deity. And then finally, the verse number 27, today's verse. Lord, the sense of evacuation from this body, and that also in the material world, that it is very, very important. So the Lord is desiring that all of the refuse of the eatables, after the eatables are digested, the refuse have to be evacuated, and then Lord desiring, he generated the evacuating whole. Utsarga Ubhyashayaha. So, and then in this verse, the controlling deity again is manifested, and so this is concludes the today's verse. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sri Krishna Prabhuji. Let's offer obeisances. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sri Prabhupada ki jai. Let's offer obeisance to all the devotees of the Lord. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kupasandubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Yeah, thank you so much, Sri Krishna Prabhuji, for a wonderful class. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you very much.
Prabhu.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare